Welcome to today's Explainer. Today, we're going to unpack the fascinating, foundational building blocks of a functioning society, tracing the invisible threads that connect every single one of us. Have you ever actually stopped to think about what holds the people around you together? We all live in something we casually call our society, but when you break it down, it's really this intricate mechanism built on relationships, rules, and mutual respect. So today, we are focusing on Chapter 2, Our Society, and we're decoding the exact civic blueprints that make our world tick.
Here is our roadmap for today. We'll start with the evolution of society, move into the power of interrelationships, discuss balancing rights and duties, contrast legal versus moral obligations, and finally, look at responsibility and social welfare. Let's dive right in.
Section 1. The Evolution of Society.
To understand where we are right now, we kind of have to recognize how far human civilization has come. We didn't just wake up one day in bustling cities with complex laws. At its core, society isn't just a random group of people occupying the same space. It's defined as an incredibly complex collective of changing family units. Think about it. Every massive human empire essentially started with just a few families cooperating around a fire. What starts as a simple, small-scale gathering naturally develops over time into a highly interconnected network. And because society is made up of these foundational units, any changes that happen within those families directly dictate the future of the world around them. It's wild to think about just how complex we've become. We've moved from simple, early communities where paths rarely crossed straight into an ultra-technological era of urbanization where literally every path intersects, much like a massive web of sprawling highways. As our physical infrastructure has grown more complex, the social structures and obligations required to keep everything running smoothly have had to level up right alongside it.
That brings us to Section 2, the power of interrelationships.
Let's zoom all the way into the micro level, the absolute foundational unit of this whole massive societal web, the family. This is where it all begins. A human society only becomes successful if it has good interrelationships, and that starts right at home. Parents are really the front line here. They aren't just providing food and a roof. They are tasked with leading by example, providing security, and making tough leadership decisions. These aren't just private goals. They are the essential duties required to generate wholesome members for a wholesome society.
And here is the crucial point. When relationships within the family are strong, those bonds don't just stay trapped inside the house. They ripple outward. Strong interfamily relationships strengthen connections between different families, which in turn interconnects and strengthens the entire society. It is the literal foundation of everything else we are going to talk about today.
As that ripple reaches our neighbors, maintaining specific human qualities is what ensures peaceful coexistence. Think about the people living next door to you right now. Maintaining peacefulness, a sense of brotherhood, cooperation, and a willingness to share and help others isn't just about being polite, it's the glue of our communities. Without these neighborly qualities, a society quickly becomes restless and, honestly, chaotic.
Once we have strong families and neighbors, we naturally form institutions to handle bigger societal needs. You've got religious institutions helping to internalize morals and discipline. Village development associations provide common services and foster leadership. And my personal favorite, sports clubs. They aren't just for physical health. They provide the essential real-world training we all need to tolerate losing gracefully and winning without being arrogant. Every single institution plays a unique, vital role in creating a thriving community.
Moving on to Section 3, Balancing Rights and Duties.
With our community established, we have to look at the transactional rules that govern our daily lives. As a member of society, you are absolutely entitled to certain rights. The right to an education, the right to live freely, to express your views, to follow your religion. But here is the critical balance. These rights are given to you for the overall benefit of society. Therefore, it's absolutely essential to fulfill the duties you are entrusted with before you can truly enjoy those rights. If you have the right to an education, your duty is to learn well. If you have the right to your religion, your duty is to not harass others for theirs. It's very much a two-way street.
Section 4. Legal versus moral obligations. Beyond those basic, direct duties, the smooth existence of a common society depends heavily on broader obligations. And there is a really fascinating contrast in how we handle these. On one side, we have legal obligations. These are the external bounds enforced by the state, like paying your taxes, maintaining order, and following laws. But on the other side, we have moral obligations. These are internal bounds driven entirely by your own conscience. treating your elders with respect, being self-disciplined, safeguarding traditions. The state doesn't force you to do these things, but society relies on them just as much.
The difference becomes incredibly clear when we look at what happens when you neglect them. If you ignore a legal obligation, you get punished by the law. You might pay a fine or go to jail. But if you ignore a moral obligation, like being disrespectful to the elders in your community, the state won't arrest you, but you face the powerful sting of societal blame and rejection. Society itself becomes the judge and jury.
Let's trace the steps of this invisible toll. Step 1, say you neglect a moral duty, like failing to look after the parents who raised you. Step 2, society notices and rejects you for this behavior. But step 3 is where it hits hardest. Even without jail time, failing your moral obligations creates a brutal psychological ripple effect. It leads to mental unrest, sadness, and ultimately the deterioration of your own personal lifestyle. You just can't escape the consequences of breaking the social contract.
Finally, Section 5, Responsibility and Social Welfare.
Let's pull all of these concepts together. Under the vital umbrella of responsibility, we find a pretty simple definition. It's your liability to fulfill the obligations we just discussed. As members of society, our personal actions absolutely dictate the welfare of the public space. This means sustainably using public property so everyone can benefit, respecting the shared rules, and actively contributing to good governance. When citizens actually follow through on these responsibilities, it directly results in social welfare and a society that functions for everyone.
I love this phrasing from the source material. It perfectly captures everything we've been exploring. It says, obligations and responsibilities are mutually interwoven. This is inseparable as the bark to the tree. You simply cannot strip one away without damaging the entire organism. The smooth existence of our entire society relies entirely on these deeply interconnected duties being upheld by every single one of us.
So as we wrap up our look at Chapter 2 and the building blocks of our society, I'll leave you with this final thought to ponder as you step back out into your community today. Are you just enjoying your societal rights, or are you actively fulfilling the duties and responsibilities that make those rights possible for everyone else? Think about your own ripple effect. Thank you so much for joining this explainer, and I'll catch you in the next one.